Here are some tips and tricks for designing guns using Edward Custom. So it's pretty normal in sound design for games that you'll get a request to design a weapon. They'll usually ask for a few different distances, and you always want the different gunshots to be slightly different variations, so it's not the exact same sound every time. This is also true for film and TV. So a good way to do this is to use multiple microphone recordings and mix and match the different mics based on the distance that you want. So what I'm going to do is pull up the Boom Assault Weapons Construction Kit, right here. This is a great library that has pre-designed sounds but also split recordings so you can design your own weapons. There are 11 different microphones for each gun here. Now if you look at the audio files in the construction kit, there are multiple gunshots in each recording. Normally this would take an extra few steps to drag into a sampler, but just recently Soundminer added an awesome feature that allows you to drag auto-identified or user-identified slices into different locations. You do this by making sure your regions are identified and by pressing this button. After it blinks, you just drag it to where you want it. And there you have it. All of the samples now are loaded onto that key. If you press the key, you'll notice that all of them are there, and there's 6 as you can tell. Now what I'm going to do is assign each group of recordings to a different note on the keyboard. This allows me to quickly mix and match the different microphones with ease. This way I can use close recordings for close gunshots and far recordings for far. By using groups of recordings, that also ensures that each sound will be different each time I hit a note. Here's the first one. Second one. Alright, that actually did not take very long at all. Now I have 11 different mics loaded into 11 different keys with 6 different samples per key. Now that that's done, you can play the different mics together and audition combos that you like best. Now for this example, we're going to make a close shot and then later a distant shot. So I'm going to use the first 5 recordings and link them together. All I do is press the note that I want in the link and press the color that I want. Now, anytime I press any of those notes, all of these samples are triggered. And now for the cool part. If you have a Komplete Controller keyboard and are running Edward Custom through the Komplete Kontrol software, you can activate the arpeggiator and simulate a fully automatic weapon. Let's say I think the mix of the first mic is too loud and in your face. All I do is activate the Edit All button right here, select a note that I want to change, so that's this first note here, and take the level of the entire note or group of sounds down. It's a little hard to tell what I did there, but if I bring it up, you can hear like the mechanics of the weapon there. Now let's say that I want a little bit more bass for this gun. It doesn't really have enough oomph for me. So I have a couple sweeteners, some kick drum sweeteners that I found. That one sounds cool. Let's take this one and let's put it here on this note. And notice I only dragged one sample, so it's only playing that one sample over and over again. Now all I'm going to do is add it to the same red group or link that everything else is on. And voila, you can hear a lot more bass there. Another way you can add realism to your sound would be to add shell casings dropping on the ground after the gun shoots. This is very easy to do. Just find the recordings that you want to use and drag them onto an empty note like normal. But this time, because you want the sound to start after the initial shot, you want to make sure to change the group of sounds to trigger on MIDI release. That's this button right here. Let's see what we have. Now, one of my favorite effects to add to gunshots is a transient shaper. Let's add one to our gunshot and see what it sounds like. We call it shaper. So there's not much change there, but when you start going up on the attack, it really gets aggressive. You can even pull the sustain down and just make it super tight. Okay, let's say I'm pretty happy with the sound of my close gun sound. What I'm gonna wanna do next is save a snapshot. You do that by hitting on the camera, little icon here if you're familiar with Contact already, and then you hit the little disc. You can save the snapshot to whatever name that you'd like, call it close gun. And that's going to save all of these settings, including your link settings and all the volumes, so you can recall it on a future date. Now that I have my snapshot saved, I can clear my group and start over for the distant sound. I do that by hitting the X All button. Now I can audition distant gunshots for the next sound and make a new link. I definitely want that in there for my distant shot. Ooh, that's pretty distant. Let's maybe try those three. This one here, this one here, this one here. Maybe even put the sweetener in there? I'm not sure that works, but we can try it anyways and maybe pull down the sweetener and see if that helps. It's cool. Maybe let's take down the ring out. That sounds like a pretty cool distant gunshot to me. Now what I would do is save another snapshot and call it distant gun. Save as. And now we have two different snapshots for this Edward instrument, and each one has a different sound that's totally different. Let's just make sure it works. There's the distant, and let's go to the close gun. Just to double check, everything still stays the same as we left it. Very cool. Now I can easily place MIDI notes in my session to record these assets and implement them into a game. Or if you work on a movie, you can load up this instrument onto a track and play it in real time with picture. I don't know about you, but I want to make a new patch for each gun that I have in my library so I can call them up whenever I need. You can also mix and match different guns from your library or use multiple instances of Edward Custom. The possibilities are truly endless. Well, I hope you enjoyed these tips and tricks, and I hope they help you in creating even cooler sounds. We really look forward to hearing about how you are using Edward Custom on your projects. See you next time.